This is Fitness Blender's Active and Static Workout Challenge. In this workout, we're going to start off with a quick warm-up, then we're going to go through 8 groups of 1 active exercise and 1 static exercise that utilize the same muscle groups. Then we're going to finish it off with a cool down and stretch. Now this routine is completely body weight driven, so you're not going to need any equipment whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up, which is going to be 3 minutes in total, and we're going to start off with 30 seconds per exercise. Our first one is going to be the boxer shuffle. Go ahead and get those feet moving, staying up on the ball of your foot, just lightly jogging back and forth, shifting your weight back and forth between that left and right foot. So make sure you're keeping all those muscles nice and tight, just slowly starting to warm that body up, slowly starting to increase that heart rate. Remember, this is just a warm-up, so you're not trying to kill yourself, especially not with these first few exercises. Just slowly let that body start warming up before you start doing anything really, really intense. We've got just a few seconds left. We're going to be switching off to a high knee twist next. And go ahead and switch, bringing that left elbow down to that right knee, right elbow down to that left knee, just crunching back and forth, bringing that knee up as high as you possibly can. So like a high knee march, but rotating those shoulders back and forth and kind of crunching forward just a little bit at the same time. This is going to help kind of warm up that hip joint just a little bit more, as well as starting to warm up those core muscles, that middle of that torso. So just keep it going a little bit longer. We've got a few more seconds till we switch to our next exercise. And our next exercise is going to be a side step arm swing. And go ahead and switch it back and forth, just stepping left to right. Again, warming up those hip joints just a little bit, as well as warming up that chest and that back. Just swinging those arms comfortably back and forth. Make sure you have them under control. You're not just kind of flailing those arms around. You're not just swinging them without controlling them. You want to make sure those arm muscles are contracted just a little bit, moving back and forth, just slowly working into that range of motion, trying to push it just a little bit more every few seconds. And we're going to switch off to butt kickers here in just a second. And switch it. Bring that heel up to your butt. Staying on the ball of your foot when you bring that foot down. Nice quick motion. Start with it relatively slow as far as butt kickers can be. And then start trying to pick up the pace as you get through this. Try to start increasing that heart rate, increasing that core temperature a little bit more as you go. Just keep that motion going, keep those lungs open, make sure you're keeping all those muscles to that upper body nice and tensed as well, just to start helping warm up those muscles up in that upper body as well. We're moving on to that lateral hop pull next. Go ahead and switch it. So jumping left to right, nice wide jump. Start relatively small again, start working into that range of motion with every single jump, get a little bit further. Those arms swing back as you step. And as you cross over the middle, those arms come back up in front. Just keep alternating back and forth. Keep those core muscles nice and tight. Keep those arms contracted. Keep those legs contracted. Got about 10 seconds left until we switch off to the next. We're moving on to jumping jacks next. And start them up. Just a regular jumping jack. Nice quick motion. Bring those hands over top of your head, back down to your thighs. Those legs snap in and out at the same time. Make sure you're moving really nice and quick. Make sure all those muscles through your body are nice and contracted. Contracting everything as tightly as you can. This is our last exercise of the warm-up, so start really pushing into it. You want to really start warming that core up, really get that heart rate up before you're done and moving on to those regular exercises. It's got just a few seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. We're moving on to the next group, which is going to be our active static. We're doing 9 groups of an active exercise and a static exercise plus 20 seconds of active rest. We're doing 30 seconds per active and static hold. So starting off those squat jacks, get down nice and low, hop those feet in and out. We're going for 30 seconds total. Nice quick motion, staying up on the ball of your foot and trying to keep those hips as low as you can. Just keep it going. We've got 20 seconds left to go. Keep those lungs open, moving fast. We're almost done, just 10 seconds left to go. Keep those hips down nice and low. I know those legs are burning. 5 seconds. We're going to switch to a static lunge with that left leg forward first. And switch it. Left leg forward, dropping down into that lunge. You're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. So try not to bounce too much. Try to stay as low as you can. Get that rear knee as close to the ground as is comfortable. Just hold it there. We got 20 seconds left to go. Just breathe normally. Keep those core muscles contracted. Keep those leg muscles contracted. Make sure that you are not letting yourself start drifting up towards the top into that range of motion. You want to stay as low as you can the entire time. 4, 3, 2, 1, and stand up. Do a little bit of boxer shuffle, a little bit of jog in place for your active rest. You got 20 seconds, and then we're going to do that over again, but this time on that second static, we're going to use the opposite leg forward. So we got 10 seconds left until we switch back into those squat jacks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop it into those squat jacks. Nice low squat, as low as you can control. I know those legs are probably burning like crazy at this point, but try to keep those hips as low as you can, hopping those feet in and out as quickly as possible. Barely let that foot touch before you're hopping it right back in again. Keep those core muscles contracted, breathing as normally as you can. Keep those lungs open. Whatever you do, don't hold your breath. We're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop it down into that lunge with that right leg forward. Again, try to drop that rear knee as close to the ground as you possibly can. Hold it down nice and low. Keep those core muscles contracted. Keep that upper body straight up and down. Just hold it there. Keep those lungs open. I know those legs are burning, but try to stay down as low as you can. Just 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Good job. Go back into that active rest, so that boxer shuffle or that jog in place. Our next 2 exercises are going to be swimmers. That's going to be our active exercise, and our passive exercise is going to be a back bow. So it's going to be a static hold and a back bow. So we're going to be switching into these here in just a second. So go ahead and drop down on the ground for this one. 3, 2, 1, and start into those swimmers. Get those arms up there, alternating back and forth. So left arm, right leg, right arm, left leg, just alternating back and forth. Got about 20 seconds left. Keep those lungs open, nice and deep breaths in and exhaling all the way out. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Just keep those hands moving back and forth as quickly and as controlled as you can. Got just a few seconds left till we switch to that passive exercise, that static hold. 3, 2, 1, and bring both those arms and legs up nice and high and freeze it. Hold it up there, squeezing through that lower back, as well as especially in those glute muscles, those butt muscles, and that hamstring. So try to get those legs and arms up there as high as you can, keeping those legs and arms perfectly straight, out away from you as far as you can, squeezing it up the entire time. You got 10 seconds left. Hold it just a little bit longer. Tight, tight squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Go ahead and stand up. Got our active rest, so jogging in place. If you're starting to feel a little bit too tired, feel free at any one of these breaks to move into just shifting your weight back and forth. Just a light walk, but preferably doing at least a jog in place, or if you want to make it even harder, you can even do jumping jacks if you want. Now drop back down on the ground. We're moving into those swimmers again. Go ahead and start it back up. Left arm, right leg, right arm, left leg, just alternating back and forth. Getting a nice high, tight squeeze every single time. Keep those lower back muscles contracted, those glutes, those thighs. Make sure those legs and arms stay perfectly straight. Make sure you're not holding your breath, just breathing as normally as you can. Just keep it going. You got 10 seconds left to go. Just 5 more seconds. We're going to be switching off to that static back bow next. And freeze it up. Bring both those arms and legs up nice and high. Tight, tight squeeze. Kelly just moved her arms back here. That's a slightly easier version to get that chest up there a little bit higher. Otherwise, keep those arms completely extended out straight for the harder version. Trying to keep those arms and legs completely straight, contracting up as high as you can. Tight squeeze, constantly holding at the top of that range of motion, contracting that lower back, those butt muscles, and those thigh muscles, keeping everything up. We got just a few seconds left to go. 2, 1, and let it relax. Go ahead and stand back up. We've got our active rest, so jump up and start doing your jog in place. Our next 2 exercises are going to be a toe touch crunch for our active exercise, and we're going to be doing a toe touch hold or a crunch hold for our static exercise. So again, 30 seconds per. We've got a few seconds left until we start into those toe touches. So on your back, legs up in the air. And start them up, crunching up towards those toes. Nice tight squeeze the top of that range of motion. Make sure you're not letting those abs release as you drop back down to the ground. You want to keep those abs contracted at least a little bit the entire time. Really focusing on trying to get as much range of motion out of this as you can while still keeping those lungs open and breathing as evenly and as comfortably as possible. You got just about 10 seconds left to go. Just keep it going a little bit longer. We're moving to that static hold next. And freeze it up the top of that range of motion. Get those legs nice and straight. Try to get those shoulders up as high as you can and hold them there the entire time. Just keep rechecking yourself every few seconds, because as you hold this, your body's going to slowly start to relax and let those shoulders droop back down. So make sure you're constantly checking yourself that you're at the highest point that you can contract and hold as long as you possibly can. So just a few seconds left until we do our active rest. 2, 1, and let it relax. Go and stand up, jogging in place or doing that boxer shuffle. We've got 20 seconds of this, and then we're going to start this whole thing over again. Just about 5 seconds left. Back down on the ground, get those legs up in the air, and start it, crunching up towards those toes. Remember, we're trying to get a nice full range of motion, but don't let those abdominal muscles relax in the bottom range. Don't completely relax your head or your shoulders back down on that mat. Always keep those abs slightly contracted. Again, trying to focus on as much range of motion as possible. Just keep it going. You got about 10 seconds left to go. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it up the top of that range of motion as high as you possibly can. Get those shoulders up as high as you can, and just hold it there nice and steady. Remember, constantly check yourself. Your body's going to slowly start trying to relax on you, so keep checking to make sure you're staying at the top of that range of motion with those abs as contracted as you can possibly control. Just keep holding it. 10 seconds left. We're almost done. Keep those legs nice and straight, or as straight as you can control. Almost done. And let it relax. Good job. All right, we're going to give you a little extra rest here. So we're going to give you a water break. Hit pause if you need a little bit longer. Otherwise, we'll be back in just a second. All right, let's go and get ready for our next round. Go ahead and start that active rest. So jogging in place, doing that boxer shuffle. Now for this round, we're going to be doing a bridge raise or a hip raise for our active exercise, and a bridge hold or a static bridge for our static exercise. So we're going to be alternating back and forth between those two, starting off with those bridge raises. So go ahead and lay down flat on your back and start them up, bringing those hips up nice and high, squeeze the top, bring them back down, barely hover above the ground, barely touch, and then bring those hips right back up. Now make sure as you're doing this, you're pressing your weight into your heels rather than onto your toes so you don't get those calves to cramp up on you. Mainly focusing on just trying to squeeze those hips up as high as you can, keeping those glutes and those hamstrings as tight as possible. Now you have just a few seconds left to go until we switch that static hold, which is that bridge hold, bringing it up to the top of that range of motion. And squeeze up and hold it. Freeze those hips up as high as you possibly can, constantly trying to push the maximum range of motion. Now, just like all the rest of these exercises, when you hold this static position, your body's going to try to find the easiest place and try to slowly relax on you so you don't notice. So keep checking yourself. Make sure you keep pushing those hips up as high as you possibly can, squeezing through those butt muscles, contracting that lower back and those hamstrings to keep those hips up there as high as you can. Just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Go and stand up for our active rest, jogging in place, doing that boxer shuffle. Got 20 seconds of this, and then we're going to start back over with that regular bridge. Almost done. Go and lay back down on your back. Feet in as close as is comfortable, and start them up. Bring those hips up as high as you can. Tight squeeze the top of that range of motion. Remember, dropping those hips as low as you can go without letting them completely touch the ground. You want to always keep those muscles contracted the entire time. Just keep those core muscles contracted as well, just breathing normally. Nice tight squeeze the top of that range of motion. Just got a few seconds left until we move to that static hold. And bring it up and freeze it. Squeeze those glutes, squeeze those hamstrings and that lower back to get those hips up there as high as you can, and hold it as steady as possible. Just breathe normally. Keep checking yourself. Make sure those hips don't start to droop, and keep contracting as hard as you possibly can. We're just a little over halfway, so just keep holding it. Keep those hips up there nice and high. Almost done. And go ahead and let it relax. Go and stand up. Do that jog in place. Our next two exercises are going to be a high knee motion Jogging back and forth really nice and quick, followed by a static hold, which is going to be a Captain Morgan. So one knee up, really nice and high, just holding it, knee about hip height. We're going to do the first leg or left leg on the first round and right leg on the second round. So let's go ahead and get started for those high knees and start them up. Drive those knees as fast as you can. Nice, quick, high motion, barely letting that foot touch the ground before you're pulling it right back up again. Remember, try to get those knees to at least hip height, higher if you possibly can, moving as fast as you possibly can. Now I've just hit halfway. Just keep those knees moving, as much range of motion as possible, as quickly as possible. We're almost done. Just keep it going. And let it relax. Bring one leg up as high as you can. Freeze it. You want to try to get that knee at least to hip height. Hold it there nice and steady, just balancing on that other leg. Now, if you need a little bit of help, you can always lean up against a wall or the back of a chair, but preferably don't use anything at all. Just standing there trying to hold your balance. Make sure you're keeping that knee up nice and high. Just keep that static hold going. Under 10 seconds left to go. Almost done. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go and move into that active rest. So that boxer shuffle again, moving those feet back and forth. Remember, after this one, we're going to go right back into those high knees. Got 10 seconds left. Almost done. 3, 2, 1. And back into those high knees. Dry those knees as quick as you can. Get them up as high as possible. Moving as fast as possible. Just keep those lungs open and keep everything nice and tensed. Got 20 seconds left to go. We're almost done. Just a few more seconds to go. Keep those knees moving. And let it relax. Good job. Let's move back to that Captain Morgan, that opposite leg this time. Bring that knee up nice and high. Freeze it. Remember, at least knee to hip height. You want to bring it up higher than that if possible, but at least bring that knee to hip height. Just hold it there nice and steady, balancing on that other leg. Remember, if you need a little extra help for that balance, you can lean against a wall or fingertips on the back of a chair, but try to use it as little as possible, trying to use just your own control for that balance. Almost done. And let it relax. Good job. All right. Keep those feet moving, going back into that active rest. We're going to be doing a ski squat and a static hold squat for these next two. So just a nice even ski squat with those feet nice and close together. And for that static hold, you can bring those feet to a normal squat width, so about hip or shoulder width apart, and squatting down and holding. So let's go ahead and get ready. You're going to bring those feet really nice and close together, just a few inches apart or actually touching, dropping down nice and low into a deep squat, making sure that back stays nice and flat the entire time. Don't go low enough to the point where that back starts to round. So just go as low as you can control. Make sure that back stays flat. Make sure those lungs are open and you're moving at a nice even pace in both directions. Got just 10 seconds left until we do that static hold. Almost done. And drop it down. Remember, you can drop those feet out to a regular width, so shoulder to hip width apart, dropping down nice and low, just as low as is comfortable. Just keep checking that body. Make sure you're not starting to drift back up to the higher version or higher range of motion on this one. Try to keep those hips as low as you can while still keeping that back nice and flat. You got 10 seconds left to hold it. Keep them down there, nice and low. Almost done. And let it relax. Good job. Get that active rest going on. So that boxer shuffle, jogging in place. Now remember, you're trying to keep that heart rate up, or actually bring that heart rate back up with this active rest in between. So make sure you keep those feet moving nice and quick. Got just a few seconds left until we start back into those squats, so ski squats. And bring those feet nice and close together and begin. Nice, low, deep squat. Remember, try to keep that back perfectly flat while still getting as deep of a squat as you can possibly control. Those feet about 2 to 3 inches apart at maximum. Otherwise, those feet and knees actually completely press together nice and tight. Just keep that motion going. Keep those lungs open, those core muscles nice and tight. Constantly trying to get as deep of a squat as you can while still keeping that back flat. We're almost done. Just a few seconds left till we switch back that static hold. And drop it down and freeze it. Remember, you can bring those feet out wider if you want to for a regular squat. Otherwise, you can keep them in nice and close, whichever is more comfortable. Just keep it as low as you can. Get those hips down nice and low. Keep that back nice and flat. Make sure you're evenly dispersing your weight between your heel and the toe of that foot. Got just about 10 seconds left. Just keep holding it. Keep those lungs open. Keep all those core muscles and those leg muscles nice and tight. Almost done. And let it relax. Get those feet moving again, that boxer shuffle. Our next exercise is going to be a burpee, and our hold is going to be a static plank. Now you can choose which type of plank you want to do. You can either do it off of your elbows, nice and low, or you can do a high plank like Kelly's doing up in a full push-up position. So whichever one you want, we're going to be starting off those burpees first in just a couple seconds. And start them up. Drop them down, kick those feet out back behind you, back up and jump. Kick those feet out again. Now, if you want to make these burpees a little bit easier, then you can just cut that jump out of the top, but make sure you're getting that nice full range of motion, kicking those feet back behind you. This is meant to be done as quickly as possible while still keeping a really nice, clean form. So we got just about 10 seconds left to go. Just keep it going a little bit longer. We'll be moving on to that static plank hold in here in just a second. Almost done. And drop it down. That full high plank like Kelly's doing, or you can drop down on those elbows, whichever is more comfortable. Just keep a nice straight line from shoulder to ankle. If you really start tiring out, you can always drop down onto those knees if you have to, but try to hold it up in that high plank the entire time. Keep running through that mind, checking that form. Make sure those core muscles are all nice and tight. Make sure those thighs are contracted. Making sure you're keeping a straight line through that back all the way down into those ankles. So straight line from shoulder to ankle. Almost done. And jump back up, that active rest, jog in place, get those feet shuffling back and forth. You want to make sure you're keeping those lungs open, resting as much as you can, at the same time as keeping that heart rate up. You got 10 seconds left until we switch back into those burpees. And just a few seconds left. Moving back to those burpees and start them up. Nice quick motion. Remember, add that jump at the top if you want it to be a little bit harder. Take it away if you want it to be a little bit easier, but whatever you do, move as quickly as you can, getting those feet all the way back out behind you, dropping all the way into that full push-up position, and then coming right back up to that standing position. Over halfway, just keep them going a little bit longer. We'll be switching off that plank in just a few seconds. Almost done. Switching off to that high plank, and switch it. Drop down. Off those hands or off those elbows, whichever, doesn't matter. Just make sure you have a nice straight line from shoulder down to ankle. Hold those abdominal muscles nice and contracted. Contract those thighs. Make sure those legs are straight. Just hold it there, breathing as normally as you possibly can. We're almost done. Just a few seconds left. Keep that plank position nice and solid. Straight line from shoulder to ankle. Keep those hips low. We're almost done. And go ahead and let it relax. Good job. Go ahead and stand back up. Do that boxer shuffle, that jog in place. Our next active exercise is going to be arm circles. Just a nice 6-inch or 4-inch circle around that shoulder joint. And then we're going to be doing a static arm raise hold. So just holding it straight out from those shoulders, trying not to let those arms start to droop. So we got a few seconds left before we start in. Go ahead and bring those arms up to shoulder height. And start that circle about 4 to 6 inches in diameter, right around that shoulder joint. Now make sure you're getting that arm up above your shoulder just as much as you're going underneath that shoulder. So you want that circle perfectly centered around that shoulder joint. Make sure you're getting those arms back behind you as well. Just a nice even pace. Keep those arms up nice and high. Don't let them start to droop. Got just a few seconds left to go till we move to that hold. And go ahead and switch, static hold, bring those arms up nice and high, straight out from that shoulder joint. Don't let them go any lower or any higher than that shoulder joint. And also make sure they're in a straight line from wrist to wrist through that chest. So you don't want those hands to kind of drift forward so they're in front of your chest or be back behind you. You want them straight in line from one to the other. Just keep holding it a little bit longer. You got about 10 seconds left. Keep everything else in your body nice and tense, even though you're not necessarily using it. Almost done. And let it relax. Get that jogging in place moving, that boxer shuffle. Got 20 seconds of this before we start right back into that last round of those arm circles, and then that last round of those static arm raises, and then we're going to be moving into our cool down. So we're almost done with this routine. So got just a few more seconds till we start back into those arm circles. and start them up. So we're going in the opposite direction with those arm circles. So instead of rolling those hands forward, you're going to be going backwards with them. Again, keep those arms up nice and high. Make a nice perfect circle around that shoulder joint so you're going just as high over top of that shoulder as you are underneath it, and just as much in front of that shoulder as you are going back behind it. So just keep it nice and even all the way around. Got 10 seconds left till we get to that static hold. Almost. And freeze it. Get those arms up there straight across from hand to hand, right through that chest. Just hold it nice and steady. Dropping into about a quarter squat, just holding it, making sure those legs are working as well. Make sure those core muscles are contracted nice and tight. Keep those hands up. They're going to start trying to droop on you a little bit. We're a little over halfway, so keep those arms nice and steady. Keep breathing normally. We are almost done. Just a few seconds left to go. Keep holding it. And let it relax. Good job. All right, that is the end of that portion of the routine, which means all we have left is our cool down and stretch. So we're holding each one of these for 15 seconds per stretch. So let's go ahead and get started with our first one, which is going to be a hamstring stretch. So keep those legs nice and straight. Bend over from those hips. If you want to add a little extra shoulder stretch into it like Kelly's doing, you can bring those hands back behind your back and just let gravity kind of pull them down. Just whatever you do, just keep trying to find that stretch. Just holding it nice and steady. And go ahead and switch it to a quad stretch. So bring one foot back behind you, grabbing same arm as foot, squeezing that heel as close to your butt as is comfortable for that knee. Then pull that knee back behind you just a little bit to get a good stretch to the front of that thigh and possibly even into the front of that hip. Go ahead and switch sides. Same thing in the other leg. Heel to butt. Pull that knee back behind you. Keep that torso nice and straight. Hold it just a little bit longer. And switch. We're going to an inside thigh plus an arm cross stretch. So one leg off to the side, stretching that inside thigh. That one knee bends, the other leg stays straight. Drop that hip and pull that arm across in front of your chest. And let's go ahead and switch sides. So you're going to move over to the other side. That opposite leg bends. Bring that arm across in front of your chest, trying to drop that hip of the straight leg down nice and low to get that stretch to the inside of that thigh. And let it relax. We're going to do a tricep stretch, an overhead tricep stretch, as well as a hip flexor stretch. So dropping down into a lunge, keeping that rear leg straight to stretch to the front of that hip. And one hand comes up back behind you, using that other hand to grab that elbow and pull across. Now go ahead and switch sides. Bring that other leg back behind you. Keep it nice and straight to stretch that hip flexor. That other arm comes back up over behind your head, pulling across with that other arm. So just hold it nice and steady. Try to get as much of a stretch out of both of those positions as you can. And let it relax. Move to downward facing dog. So feet flat against the ground or as close to as you can control. Nice straight leg. Then nice straight line through your body from wrist to hip. Pressing that chest down towards those toes. And switch it to a modified pigeon. So one leg crosses in front. Laying that other leg back against the ground, trying to tilt that chest up as high as is comfortable. Just arch it there, hold it, breathing normally. And go ahead and switch sides to bring that opposite leg in front, and that other leg's going to be stretched out back behind you. Still trying to tilt that chest up, keeping those lungs open and just holding that stretch. And go ahead and let it relax. We're going to move on to a Cobra stretch next. So flat down in your stomach, hands by the base of your rib cage. Press into the palm of that hand. Arch it back as far as is comfortable. And hold it there, just breathing normally. Just a little bit longer. And let it relax back down. We're going to move into a child's pose. So sit back into those heels. Hands out away from you. Let that back stretch. Those hips stretch, those glutes. Just breathing normally again. Let everything relax. And let it release. Good job. That was the end of the cool down, which means this workout is complete. Good job.